Section 1.5 is called Using the Pythagorean Theorem, although, and I've renamed it just because to me this makes a little more sense, tells you a little bit more about what you're doing. But you're actually going to be finding the missing legs using the Pythagorean Theorem, and I'm not talking about missing legs, I'm talking about missing legs of a right triangle. So, just going through some examples. Like in the other section, when you work these problems, you have to draw the picture. Even if the book gives you a picture, I want you to copy it, and I want you to label the sides that you're given and label the missing sides. So in this case, I put a B. It could be A that's missing, but one of the two legs is going to be missing. And also draw where the box is for the right triangle. Then you're going to write the formula. And carefully plug the numbers in. So this is my A here. So I have 9 squared plus, I don't know B, so that stays B squared. And this time I know what the hypotenuse is. It's right across from the right angle. So that's 15. So I have 15 squared. This is where the problem is a little bit different from the other ones. You need to solve for B, but I first have to get rid of this 9 squared. So I'm going to go ahead and write what 9 squared is. So we've got 81 plus B squared equals, and you know that 15 squared is 225. Now I'm going to, in order to get B alone, I need to get rid of the 81. So I'm adding a negative 81 to both sides. And the point of that is to cancel out this 81. Then I'm left with the B squared. Bring your equal sign down. And 225 minus 81 is 144. Now, let's see, am I still on the screen? Yes, I am. Now you need to get B and not B squared. So I have to take the square root of both sides, and the square root of B squared is B. The square root of 144 is 12. And then check to see if there are any units. And in this case, there's centimeters. So 12 centimeters is my answer. And then box or circle it. So these are all the steps you have to show. Draw the picture, write the formula, plug numbers into the formula, figure out what these squared numbers are, and then subtract, have this subtraction step. Show me your square root step, and then the answer. Okay, example number 2 is a little word problem, and it says that a 48-inch TV, as measured by the diagonal, which is how you measure TV screens and computer screens, it has a length of 42 inches. How tall is the TV? So I'm going to draw a picture. And we're given the, let's see, the diagonal. So this length is 48 inches. I'm going to draw my right angle, and the length is 42 inches. How tall is the TV? So this is the side I'm looking for, which we could, I'll just call it A. I could call it B just as easily. I'll call this number B. So these can be switched, but C is 48, and that can't be switched around because that's right across from the right angle. So I have my picture. I'm going to write the formula out. Plug numbers in. So in this case, A is my unknown, so it stays A squared. B is 42, and C is 48. The next step is to square these two numbers. So 48 squared, which means 48 times 48, is 2304. And 42 squared is 1764. And then a squared is still a squared. Now to get a by itself, I have to get rid of the 1764. So I'm adding a negative 1764 to both sides. So I can cancel it out on the left side. Those are gone. And I'm left with a squared on the left. Bring your equal down. And 2304 minus 1764 is 540. Now I need to get a, not a squared, so I take the square root of both sides, and you need to show me that. This becomes just a because the square root cancels the square. And then you can do this on the calculator, and we get square root of 540, so it's 23.2379. If I want to round to the nearest tenth, I have to look to the hundredths place. Well, the 3 is less than 5, so this 10th place stays as 0.2. So the answer is 23.2 inches. And that's the height of the TV. All right. Yep, still on the screen. Good. Now this last example, this is something that people have trouble with. So it's finding the area of a right triangle. And before I do that, I just want to quickly show you or remind you that a triangle can be thought of as half of a rectangle. So if this side is, I don't know, let's say 8, and this side is 10, I could say that the area of the whole rectangle is 8 times 10, which is 80. Think of the triangle as being half of the rectangle. So if my rectangle's area is 80, the triangle's half of that, or 40. And that's where this formula, area equals 1/2 base times height, that's where that comes from. Base times height is just the length and width of a rectangle. 1/2 is because a triangle is half of a rectangle. So when you find the area, all you need to do for any triangle is find the two sides that are the legs, or the ones that are right around the right angle. Those are the two, those are going to be the base and height. So you can multiply them and then divide by 2. If they give it to you like this, if you're given a triangle that's, that's kind of a bad looking triangle, but let's pretend this is a right angle. If they're drawn a little goofy, say that's 6, and you want to find this area, don't think that the base has to be the one at the bottom. It's not necessarily the case. I'm looking for the two sides that make the right angle. That's going to be the base and the height. So I'm just going to multiply them together. 4 times 6 is 24. That would be a rectangle. And then cut that 24 in half, and that's 12. So the area would be 12. I'm not going to use that number. All right, so in this case, they're going to give you a right triangle. And looks like they give the hypotenuse. So here's my C. And they give an A, I don't know. I'm missing this side. And I'm given this other side here, so I'll call that B. And I want to find the area of this triangle. So looking at it the way it is, I want to look for the two sides that make the right angle, because that would be the base and the height. but I don't have both of those. I only have one of the two, and I can't use this one. So I have to find the missing side first, and then I can find the area. So our first step is to use the Pythagorean theorem to find side A. So A is the unknown, B is 8.6, and C is 10. Then you're going to square these numbers. So I have A squared plus 8.6 squared is 73.96. 10 squared, of course, is 100. I need to solve for A squared. I need to get rid of 73.96, so I'm adding a negative 73.96. Don't forget, when you subtract these, you have to line up decimals. Those cancel out, and you get A squared on the left side. And then 100 minus 73.96, that's going to give you 26.04. I need A and not A squared, so I'm taking the square root of both sides, which gives me my A. And then I'm going to do this on the calculator, and the square root of 26.04 is 5.1. Now, I'm not finished at this point. Be careful, don't forget that you're finding area. A in the Pythagorean theorem does not stand for area, it stands for a side length. So this is 5.1. Now I have the sides that I need to find the area. So I'm going to go over here. Remember, area is 1/2 base times height. These are the two that make the right angle. So it's going to be 1/2 8.6 times 5.1. And when I multiply 1/2 times 8.6 times 5.1, I get 21.9. And I don't have any unit, I'll just put units squared because it's area, rounding to the nearest tenth. Alright, so that's how you find the area of a right triangle. Now I'm going to do, hopefully I have enough time, I'm going to do one more area one. So this triangle looks a little different. I need to find the area, so I'm looking for the two sides around that make the right angle. I have one of them, but I don't have the other one. So I need to find the missing side. This is a leg, and I need to use the Pythagorean theorem to do it. So let's call the 10.1 is C, because it's the longest side. It's across from the right angle. I'll just call the 6.2 A, and I'll call my missing one B. So let's find B first, then we can find area. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. A is 6.2, B is the unknown, and the C is 10.1 squared. Alright, 6.2 squared is 38.44, I'm not rounding yet, plus B squared equals, then 10.1 squared is 102.01. Okay, I need to get B squared alone, so I'm adding a negative 38.44 to both sides. Line up your decimals. These cancel, and I'm left with B squared on the left and 102.44, oops, sorry, 102.01 minus 38.44 is 63.57. Take the square root of both sides and I get B equals 63.57. Alright, I'm gonna, this actually rounds up, This says 7.973. Looking at the hundredths place, that's 5 or more, which means the 9's going to go up by 1, which means that goes to 8. 8.0. Not finished. That is not my area. That is my side B. That's this side, 8.0. Now I can find the area, which is 1/2 base times height. 1/2, I'll just call the base 8. Doesn't really matter which one the base and which one the height is. We'll call the height 6.2. Remember, you're just multiplying the two sides that make the right angle and then multiplying it by half. So 1/2 times 8 times 6.2 is going to be 24.8 units squared. That is the area of that triangle. And that is it.